Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. We're really excited to be featuring Matt Fern today, and Matt is an award-winning filmmaker and producer, and he is going to dive into the latest trends in video communication. I'm really fortunate because I had spent a few years working with Matt. We worked together at Cat Communications, and for you, those of you who haven't had a chance to, you can go out to Amazon and you can watch his latest movie. It's out for rent. I believe is it Fighting Over Sioux, Matt? Did I get that name right? It's a
Yep.
really cool movie. It's a really cool documentary and well worth your time, especially if you're a North Dakotan. So Matt has built a reputation for producing high quality commercials, podcasts, and branded video content across the Midwest. His extensive experience includes writing, directing, shooting, and producing the popular online video series Daily Dakotan. Probably have seen that as well. And of course, impactful feature-length documentary Fighting Over Sioux, which I, again, highly recommend. You can go out to Amazon and you can rent it and pop some popcorn and sit back. So get ready for an insightful discussion with Matt as he shares his experience in the evolving landscape of video communication. Take it away,
Awesome.
Matt.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jennifer. I assume everyone is clapping with all the muted. Uh, so yeah, my name is Matt Fern. I'm from Bismarck, and I run a media production company called The Creative Treatment here. Today, I'd like to just talk a little bit about video trends in 2025. Can everyone see the screen here? Is this working good?
Looks great.
Awesome. So I'm going to break it up kind of in production. Feel free to ask any questions here in the chat, and let's get going. So a little bit about me here. Run the Creative Treatment. We're a media production company. Work with Comcast, CNN, Travel Channel, a whole bunch of media companies. Also, outside of ads, do Prairieland Media. That is where Fighting Over Sioux came from, and the Daily Dakotan. Um, I'm born and raised in North Dakota. I love North Dakota and I love movies. And so those are kind of the two things about me. I love making movies and I love North Dakota. So anytime I can create content about North Dakota, I feel very blessed. Some work I've done Fighting Over Sioux, like Jennifer mentioned, Daily Dakota, and also produced the Plain Talk podcast, and Prairie Pioneers with the Bismarck Historical Society. But just trying to create content that is educational, entertaining, is kind of what we focus on. So looking to the future, when Jennifer asked me to talk about looking forward to 2025, I think kind of the big thing is media and all of our communication landscape is changing drastically because of AI. I think AI is as big, if not larger, of a transformation to not only our economy, our society, as the internet. Um, One stat that I always think about that just came out by was that experts estimate 90% of online content may be synthetically generated or created by AI by 2026. And I remember when I started creating content, it was wild, the amount of YouTube videos and all the content creators, and it just was a whole new industry. And to now think that 10 years later, in just a few years, um, majority of that content or content distributed won't even be created by people. It'll be AI created. That image right there of an elephant in the room with filmmakers was AI created. None of those people exist. That image was created for free within seconds. And so I think it's changing the industry, but I don't think it's the end of the media and communication industry in any way. I also think this is very possible because that image I just showed you as well of AI destroying and changing media, within seconds, I was able to create 8 variants of that. And so I think, again, this is a good thing. I think for us communicators in North Dakota, we didn't always have the resources of someone that could do art in a certain style, or a writer or a graphic designer. And so I do approach this from a positive standpoint, and all the other communicators and filmmakers, media makers in North Dakota I talk to use AI quite a bit. And so looking to 2025, AI, I think is the key word. So let's move into some kind of practical ways of using AI. But first, I just want to talk a little bit about why it's so differently. The kind of main science behind image creation, media creation, is this large language model. The ability of AI to take a bunch of language or text, like ChatGPT, and then come up with a billion different solutions and find patterns, and then try to find solutions based upon those patterns in the large language model and the research they've done. And so that idea of text also applies to video. And so many videos have been, this is a big legal question, which we'll get into eventually. But just the kind of science of how it works is it takes a large language model of a bunch of images, breaks it up into ones and zeros, little pixels, and then kind of reformulates what it thinks the image could be. So not only is AI changing how we write, which I assume a lot of communicators use on this call, but it is going to create, or it is already changing how we create actual video content. How this has evolved in just the last year. This is a great example of how AI could just create an image that was kind of recognizable as a dog to, hey, that looks like a low resolution, to something that's indistinguishable from reality. Here's just some more AI generated content. So let's get into some actual tools. Pre-production. What are people using for video, media production, communications in 2025? The big thing is ChatGPT. I assume most of these people on the call use ChatGPT. ChatGPT in media production can be used for idea generation, creating different themes, proofreading. I know we use it for proofreading all the time. Storyboarding. I showed you those images of 6 different versions or 8 different versions of what that image of an AI robot overtaking video could be. And so a lot of pre-production is trying to communicate your idea before you shoot it. And so AI and storyboarding, ChatGPT allows you to communicate your idea, see what works, see what doesn't work. AI character generators. You can create your own character now through artificial intelligence that can react to the prompts that you tell it. Gary Vaynerchuk is a really great resource on kind of upcoming trends in marketing. And he really thinks that every business, every person will have their own AI character where you'll generate your own flow from Progressive or just your perfect ideal representative that is available 24/7. And I believe as long as consumers can interact with it, I think they will go with it. And so I think that's going to change the game quite a bit. Research, audience, insights. A lot of times we have a lot of information we have to distill into a short period of time. And so ChatGPT AI can be used to distill a lot of information and say it in a different way to get a fresh perspective. Again, you'd need an outside person to look at this, or you need to hire more, but now AI, you can use that for free. And then task automation, helping creating schedules, shot lists. Let's say you have a social media campaign or something you want to create. ChatGPT and AI tools like it can kind of be an ad agency, which normally you'd have to outsource. So let's actually create some stuff here. We're going to jump on over to ChatGPT and all right. So Jennifer, I'm going to pick on you a little bit here. If you could help me out. So we're going to create a digital character to help promote your department. So could you tell me a little bit about the audience that you're trying to reach?
Probably members members of industry, probably people from the oil and gas sector, other state agencies, definitely the general public. So people we regulate, and then also people who depend on us to keep their environment, um, clean air, clean water, usable land.
So everyone, clean air and
For
water.
everyone, yeah.
Um, and then what is a style? I kind of jumped with Pixar character, but what's a style that you
Mhm.
think would appeal to your audience here?
Um, I guess when people think of North Dakota, they think of like especially in the environment, like an outdoor adventure. So people who like to be outdoors, people who enjoy like North Dakota's environment, um, their natural spaces. Um, Also, people who are concerned about clean water, drinking water, and um, environmental health preservation. I'm just having a really hard time formulating this today.
And I should have started a step further. We should have had ChatGPT help create us that here. Uh, but here's just a good example of just taking a couple keywords and trying to create some sort of character.
Okay.
And let's see what happens. And so a good example is we could have said, let's describe the character, describe the audience member. Who are we trying to reach? Uh,
Mhm.
but let's see who it creates. Awesome.
Ooh.
You got all the elements in there here. Oil, gas, wind, they put it all in there. Uh, now, so let's take this a step further.
I think that oil's a little too close to the river.
Yeah. Save. And remove the oil away from the river. All right. So the whole idea is we're trying to interact with this to create a
Mhm.
character. Um, so let's see our next generation of it. There we go. All right, River Steel is the name ChatGPT came up with here. And perfect, awesome. So we're able to come up with that name and character. And so this is just an example of how we were able to create River Steel, a character that Jen could start writing some content about or making a post about within seconds. We can change the style, the look. AI just cannot get the North Dakota landscape down, though. They're always trying to put plateaus and mountains in there. We have to keep it softer here. So now let's write a script for River Steel. Right, I to spell it right. Wrote. What's the website that you have there, Jen?
deq.nd.gov.
deq.nd.gov.
Yeah.
Is that right? Oops.
I think it's
MD.
uh,
Was that right?
that's right.
Awesome. All right, so we have a wide shot of River Steel standing beside a crystal clear river, tipping his cowboy hat. Howdy, folks. River Steel here, your friendly neighborhood cowboy with a big heart for clean air, clean water, and a whole lot of adventure. I reckon y'all like breathing fresh air and drinking water that doesn't taste like rusty spittoon, am I right? And so anyway, this is wild. We have a whole scene that eventually leads up to this website. Now, you don't want to copy this exactly, but this is just an amazing resource that allows you to think outside the box, allows you to create content that originally would take weeks and months. That if you can get the right prompt, will lead to your website, will lead to your brand. So that is a quick example of just using ChatGPT on creating a character, writing a script, and some idea generation. All right, so let's move on from pre-production to actual production. So some ways in 2025 that video production is changing substantially is one, automated filming techniques. There are drones, camera work now that do not require a camera crew. You can just set your point of what you want to film or to track you, and the drone can follow you. So no longer do you even need a camera crew. Lighting adjustments. There's a bunch of um, different apps that can overlay and add different coloring, different looks. One thing, this is blowing my mind, was yesterday, if anyone saw the Cowboys game, Disney Plus streamed a Simpsons version of the Cowboys game simultaneously. Um, and originally you would have to do something called motion capture to do like a recreation of an animated character where you wear a bodysuit, and that's how they do the motion. But now AI can scan a video stream and then create a new version of that feed with new characters. And they had the whole game, and they would just replace the quarterback with Bart Simpson or Homer Simpson. All the players were animated, but they could change out the character in actual real time. There are some glitches in there. But traditionally, you would have to animate a bunch of stuff. You'd have to create characters. You'd have to, create your own motion capture, like I mentioned here before, where you have an outline where the computer can follow. But now AI can just track stuff in real time and regenerate what it looks like. I think this is a game changer for a couple of reasons. One, I think it can expand your audience like NFL. That's why they're doing it. They want to appeal to a larger audience, and it worked. My son normally doesn't want to watch a football game, but last night he really wanted to watch the Simpsons version of it. And so it allows you to convey, the same story, but changing the characters can appeal to different audiences, which is a big deal. Also, Facebook has just released some technology that in real time, rather than change what you look like, they change your language. So you can be speaking and it will change it to a different language, but not only change your audio, but it'll repixelate your mouth. So it looks like you're saying something different. And then the other kind of thing that I think we are starting to see here in our region is real-time rendering. And so this is kind of how the Mandalorian TV show was filmed. This is the idea of, instead of using green screen to create a background or a digital background, you have a computer screen or a video screen that can move with the camera. And so here's a really great example of how that technology works.
While filming this scene from Disney's The Mandalorian, the actors could see their surroundings, but the surroundings weren't actually there. All of this is just LED screens, displaying backgrounds pre-made in a video game engine. Compare that with this fight scene from Avengers Endgame, where actors jumped around in a sea of green, imagining how VFX artists would make this planet look once filming had ended. The Mandalorian is one of the first major productions to choose LED walls over green screens, and the benefits for the actors are just the tip of the iceberg. LED walls make the lighting better, filming smoother, and in certain cases cost a lot less than using green screens. But to understand why the team behind The Mandalorian chose these LED screens, we have to understand just how they work. Mandalorian showrunner Jon Favreau revolutionized virtual production while directing The Lion King and The Jungle Book. However, the process for these two remakes still relied heavily on blue screen and post-production work. For The Mandalorian, LED wall technology seemed like the next logical step, given the show's production budget and time frame. Now, you may be thinking, this isn't so new. I've seen something like this before. And you're right, kind of. The predecessor to what we see on The Mandalorian is a driving scene like this one from Dr. No. You've got the actor in the car, and behind them, a screen with footage of the road they've traveled. But the technology was limited. Say you want to move the camera angle during the scene. That projected footage can't move with the camera. But by using Unreal Engine, tech borrowed from the video game field, that problem is solved. Artists can create a photorealistic 3D background that moves strictly with the camera's field of view, known as the frustum. So if the camera swings around and changes angles, the background shifts in precisely the same way. This allows motion-tracked cameras to execute traditional cinematography techniques within the virtual set.
So basically, we're eliminating post-production. Instead of having to add all this animation in post, they're just doing it in camera. So The Mandalorian has no blue screen, no green screen. It was all shot on camera with a moving background that reacted to where the camera was. This obviously is a large scale with The Mandalorian, but this concept is being used by different companies around the Midwest to have stuff that looks like you're shot in the Badlands, looks like you're shot on a moving train, but you're in a studio. And it is drastically reducing costs because you don't need to have a bunch of extra post-production of adding that in. And also you have just a much better product because not only can the actors actually see what is behind them and where they are, but also the light reflects back on them. And so you don't have that disconnect that blue screen or green screen will often have. Another
question for you, Matt.
oops.
Jenna asked, would that work with the video wall simply being moved from post-production to pre-production?
That work with the video wall simply being moved from post-production to pre-production.
So you mentioned that, hey, this isn't part of post-production anymore, it's already done. Well, would creating those images on those, that video, would they be done in pre-production or that's just done automatically with your AI?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah, that is created in pre-production. The background needs to be created in pre-production. Right now, I'm just talking about the actual filming of a new image. But yeah, you would have to create that background in post-production. But when you're actually filming, everything's all done in production.
Okay,
I think that answers it. Yeah, it's not created all of a sudden out of nowhere. You got to design it and you can adjust it. Really good question here. Here's another example of creating video with AI. This is taking an image. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this pop up on your social media, but this is taking a still image and then using AI to figure out what would that look like if it moved. So here's one I think that's pretty good of Edgar Allan Poe, something that no one has video of what it would look like if he moved. But thanks to AI, he can move. And so this isn't an actor. This isn't computer generated by Pixar. This is just AI taking the ones and zeros, the pixels of the image you fed it, and then adding some movement to it. To take it to another level here, here's an example. If we would have taken our steel character that Jen and I created, let's say we want to add some movement. There's this couple different programs. Runway Gen 3 is probably the most famous one, but we can now add movement to this. This guy created this lizard character, and so now he's going to add some movement to it. So here's an example of creating an AI content and then using AI to give it some movement as if it's a video.
Our generations are done. Let's take a look at our results. So let's take a look at the first one. Oh no, oh no. Oh, that's great. So AI does not get it right most of the time in the very first generation. Let's take a look at a few of the other results. So we have this one here, a little too static. I'm not loving that one. We have this one. Looks like he's kind of walking backwards. So I don't dig that. You might be able to reverse the speed and that might look pretty cool, but at least in the way that it is right now, it's not great. We have this one here and his face like morphs into like an alien baby. So definitely not what we're looking for. If this shot here, okay, that one looks good. I like the camera movement slowly getting close to his face. Looks really dynamic. There's some weight in his step. So I really dig that one. Then finally, we have this clip here. Oh no. Look.
So the technology is here. And just like how we were using ChatGPT to use text, I think within a year, everyone on this call will have a very easy ability to create a video out of a still image. This is a game changer. OpenAI, other companies have taken this a step further with something called Sora, where they can create, video content out of absolutely nothing. Here's an example of the prompt that they put in. Oh, this is a dancing bunny. So here's a prompt, ChatGPT, the same company that the Sora did. A litter of golden retriever puppies playing in the snow. Their head pops out of the snow. This is what was created. This is kind of what I just showed at the beginning here of we're taking a bunch of large language models, a bunch of images, and AI is creating a new image. This is something that, again, within a year, I think everyone on this call will have access to. The ability to create realistic video out of nothing. This is not real. Those birds aren't real. It's wild. I'm gonna go a little further. They have stuff that, I mean, it's right on the face.
This is how AI
Oh, and then we got an ad. So anyway, that is production. Not only can you enhance your production by overlaying stuff like The Simpsons on it, but you can also create production really out of nothing. Any questions? All right.
Crazy.
One other thing for production that I think is pretty usable for everyone on this call is remote production. So these are some samples of some projects we do, and I think everyone here, we are on Zoom right now, but this is being used more professionally in communication circles for content, where you take a Zoom call and you repurpose it for content, whether from it's a cell phone or from or Zoom. This is the way how a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews are being done. I think because of COVID 2020, almost every talk show then had remote production, but that's still kind of stuck around. And you still see a lot of TV shows, a lot of documentaries still using that. A couple of our projects, you know, we can't get an interview from everyone. We'll mix in a remote interview. Here's some just kind of tips that we give people when recording a remote interview. First thing, you want to be at eye level or a little above. Always looks better for everyone. You don't want to hold your stuff on the hand. It's going to be shaky. You want a nice, secure place. Books are really helpful, or Kleenex boxes are the other thing we usually have people use all the time. So if you would like to do a remote interview, try to have the other person have their device at eye level or higher in a stable place. You also want to be aware of your surroundings. You'll be halfway through and then you realize there's like some office music playing. So just take a moment to listen to your surroundings and make sure all music is off. If there's a noisy TV or radio or something nearby, just be aware of that. Elevators, those are always ones that sneak up on us. We think we have a quiet space for an interview, and then all of a sudden a dinging elevator down the hall will get us. And then you also want to be a couple feet away from the camera. You don't want to be too close from it. And then people generally always think to have a window or a strong light behind them. But we always say the exact opposite when you're doing like a remote interview. You want to be facing the light. You want light towards you, so you don't have a light source above you and then you have dark circles under your eyes. It always looks best to face a window so you have even light when you're doing a remote interview. All right, so that's a bunch of tools for production. Any questions on like Zoom recording or phone recording at all? Okay.
We have a question from Janine. Do you suggest paying for the ChatGPT plus $20 a month subscription, assuming you do the pro?
Yeah, I pay for it. My wife doesn't. My wife has a candle company. She uses it a lot for just posts and email proofreading, idea generation. I use it a lot more for kind of image generation and storyboards. So I do think it's worth it. Also, the pro version has some of the more advanced models, and so it does. You have access to more advanced memory. But even if you don't pay for it, I really recommend signing up for it so it remembers you and it remembers the questions that you're asking it. But yeah, great question. All right, so for post-production, this is, I think, another area where I think everyone on this call can benefit right now. There are so many tools. Every day I'm seeing a new one of using AI to enhance your video in post-production. So automated editing is probably the biggest tool people are always looking for. There's a great app called CapCut that I'm sure some people have heard of. That is really easy and user accessible to cut your clips, create some subtitles. If you have a podcast, longer form, you have the ability to use AI to go and edit. It's based upon the audio, who's talking, who's moving. You also have, there's a really awesome plugin you can get to Premiere Pro if anyone edits on that, where it will scan all of your footage and categorize it. So if you maybe came into your position and you have a large video library, but it's not organized, it's all just ones and zeros and just random names for everything, you can search for keywords or objects in there of I need an image of a field or I need some corn, and it will scan all those images and identify that for you. Synchronizing audio, that's something we used to always have to do manually if you record your audio separately from your video. That's something that AI can do instantly within seconds. AI color matching. If you have multiple interviews shoot over a couple different days, your colors can change. AI can now bounce that within seconds. You used to have to outsource to someone specifically just to do that. Noise reduction and audio cleanup. That's something that I think everyone deals with. And so the most amazing resource I think everyone on this call should grab is this website right here, podcast.adobe.com. This is an incredible, totally free tool where you can clean up your audio within seconds. Bad audio, making video, bad video can be a stylistic choice. You can have scratchy, out of focus, blurry video, and that you can always argue that's a choice, but you can never argue bad audio as a creative choice. You really need good audio to convey your message. And so a lot of times you might not have a mic or it might be really noisy where you're doing your interview. Yet this website, I think, can save a lot of headaches for a lot of different people. So let's do a quick demo on how this works. So let's say you are recording an interview with someone and you're getting their audio, and I'm just going to record on my phone, and you're really far away, so it's kind of muffled. So my name is Matt Fern. I am, today is December 10th, Tuesday, and it looks like a blizzard out there. So I just held the microphone away from me, and now I'm going to add this audio clip to this website. But first, we will listen to it to see how it sounds. So let me just upload this. There we go. So here is how the audio sounds. My name is Matt Fern. I am Today is December 10th, Tuesday, and it looks like a blizzard out there. So a lot of room tone, a lot of echo, doesn't sound clean. Let's pop it in this website, podcast.adobe.com. All right. And what it's doing is it's identifying my voice, it's identifying the room tone. And if there's other noises or if there's interruptions, it fills in my voice, it fills in the missing data. And so now it's done and it makes it clean. You can change the amount. Usually it's set at 90%. My name is Matt Fern. I am, today is December 10th, Tuesday, and it looks like a blizzard out there. So absolutely no room tone, no echo at all. It sounds like I had a podcast microphone right in front of me when I had the microphone facing the exact opposite way. So let's just listen to those back to back one more time. Here's the first take. My name is Matt Fern. I am, today is December 10th, with the program. My name is Matt Fern. I am, today is December 10th, Tuesday. Is that audio coming across all right? Can you guys hear the difference in those two? Or my audio nerd? Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
So I think everyone should use that. And I think everyone on this call at one point has had bad audio if you've ever dealt with video. And the fact that now this website exists completely for free is really exciting, I think, for content creators. Great. Another tool that you can use in post-production is something called Topaz Labs. Oops, we got a question here on audio. Can AI clean up recorded Zoom interviews video when the person's camera is old and the speaker looks blurry? Video is harder, but audio for sure. Yeah, so this actually leads into what I'm just about to show you guys. So Topaz Labs, this is an example of an AI site that can take blurry, I guess more pixelated stuff and clean it up here. Let me zoom down here to a sample. So let me go. So video, to make it totally clean, is not as possible. Well, not as, I wouldn't say not as possible, but I mean, not as accessible. Right now, audio is free for everyone to clean it up. To do blurry video, that's not completely accessible just yet here. One other tool that we use for post-production in AI is Photoshop for video. So let me just grab a quick sample of this here. Second, images. All right. All right, we'll skip that here. I'm missing an image here I was going to bring up. All right, let's keep moving. All right. So a couple other ways you can use AI in post-production is through AI music composition. You can now create your own music, creating your own theme, creating your own style of music. Normally you'd have to hire a musician. Now it doesn't sound as great as a great musician, but it is just another tool that you do have that you could use, as well as content repurposing. There's a bunch of different tools where you can take a long form clip like CapCut and create shorter content out of that. So that's different post-production tools. The future, what is beyond 2025? I think hyper-personalized content is where everything is going, like that Simpsons game yesterday. I think the ability for people to watch a movie and to change the language and have the lips change, the idea of subtitles, I think is going away. I think you'll be able to put yourself and your friends in movies. That will also lead to more immersive storytelling. If anyone has a Apple Vision where you have the headset, once you have a three-dimensional video set, you can then place yourself, your viewer, within that. And so I think we're already living in, people, complain that we have a different kind of view of the world through social media. I think that's only going to get worse once we start having augmented reality, AI images that we enhance the world that we see. And people will literally be living in a different world because they, have different avatars and can see the world in different ways. Ethically, how is this even ethical? I think that's going to be a big question. There's been lawsuits already. Scarlett Johansson had a famous lawsuit against OpenAI for using what sounded like her voice. However, the writer's strike of last year, as well as the actor's strike of last year, was based upon the use of AI. Basically, what happened at the end of the strike is that studios are not allowed to use AI main actors, but they can use AI extras. And so Legendary Films is a company that recently announced that they are taking all of their past films and they are going to use extras from them. They're going to generate extras from them. They're going to generate backgrounds and images. But I think it's going to, it already has started changing how we create content and how we create entertainment. But the idea that movies are going to be, halfway or quarter created through artificial intelligence, I think is going to be the standard. Just because of the cost savings, the idea of not having to have 1,000 extras in the Roman Colosseum, and you can just digitally create them, but not only create them, customize them to exactly how you want. I think that's gonna win versus not using AI to create content. In terms of like the legality of copyright, right now it is illegal, or not illegal, but you cannot copyright AI generated content that was directly from a computer because a person didn't create it. In order to copyright something, it needs to be created by a human. There's an example of a children's author who was bragging that an AI created everything in the book. And he was able to copyright it. And once he said AI created it all, he lost the copyright immediately. So I don't think AI is going to replace how we create content, but I think it is a tool on how we create media content and video content for sure. That's everything I prepared here so far. Any other questions on 2025 on media and content creation or AI?
Any questions? Feel free to take yourself off mute.
Awesome. Cool.
Thank you. It was really informative. I feel like I learned a lot. I love the audio part especially. I can think back to like about 5 years ago where I was recording somebody for a harmful algal blooms spot, and the wind just picked up, and I didn't have any sort of a boom or anything like that with me, and I'm just an amateur anyway. So it was just a nightmare trying to strip that out, and wow. I mean, to have the ability to reuse something that you never would have been able to reuse before, it's amazing.
Yeah, and repurposing content. The Beatles right now are having a resurgence because they're able to use AI to repurpose all this old, what was once, unusable audio, unusable video, or they're able to make, theater quality movies off of that.
Mhm.
But that technology is available for us here in North Dakota. The idea of, creating text or images, and pretty soon, I think video, within the year, I think everyone's going to be able to have that ability.
Thank you. We have one question from Tyler. Can you talk about what it was like to begin contracting with large companies like Comcast? Would you be able to summarize that?
Yeah, I mean,
30
honestly,
seconds.
it's a lot like the same companies here. I think you see the same dynamics. We mainly work with ad agencies and marketers, and we provide the media production with that. But I think just the best thing is to be reliable and under promise, over deliver. And yeah, those companies are great to work with. But everyone's kind of the same. It feels like the same kind of dynamics of everyone's just trying to get noticed, and trying to get the most bang for their buck. But video is still the best way to communicate, I believe. It's the fastest way to create empathy, and to communicate a story and information. Yeah.
And then Maxine said, is there a good place to search for reliable and quality AI tools? Seems like a lot of like a regular Google search can produce so much, and some of it is garbage.
Yeah, I think YouTube actually is a great place to look, because a lot of YouTube will do comparisons of it. So let's say you're looking for a good AI audio tool, or audio, or maybe you want a video generation tool. I would search in YouTube, best video generation tools comparison, or and most AI tools. Now there's a whole industry of summary for that. But that's how I learn the best, through video. But I find that the best way to see what the tool does and if it actually works. And then, yeah. And then email follow-up listing them at websites. I can give a PDF of my presentation, or you guys can email me at matt@thecreativetreatment.com, and I'm happy to share a PDF of this presentation today. And it has the
I'm
links
just
there.
going to type your email address in the chat here too for everybody.
But if you're not using ChatGPT regularly, I think you're behind on the times. It is a calculator for any communicator in the industry, whether it's proofreading, email, idea generation. It really is such a valuable tool for communicators. So,
Thanks so much, Matt. It was appreciate this so greatly. I'm sure you're incredibly busy, and I'm sure I felt it was very informative. I think the rest of the folks here did, and thank you so much. I put Matt's email in the chat here for you guys. This is also going to be recorded. It has been recorded. I'm just going to trim it up a little bit afterwards, and we'll get that on our YouTube site so that everyone can have a rewatch if they'd like.
awesome. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.